Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA. Ocala!
All right, 5 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Thursday morning. Our next guest has a couple of different things to tell us about. First of all, she's got a wonderful book. It's a mystery novel called Blue-Eyed Ruse. And for those of you who are familiar with how Robin and I typically interview novelists, you know that we don't spend a whole lot of time with them. It's not because we're not interested or don't like them. It's because, you want to leave a lot of room for the reader to discover what the story is. And of course, we'll do the same thing with Blue-Eyed Ruse, of course. But the author, Ginny Frings, is Dr. Ginny Frings. And she has some story to tell you about an accident that she was in. I think it was back in 2000. Her credentials say she is a transformational speaker. She's the president and national spokesperson for Concerned Angels, which is a child's life-saving charity dedicated to teaching parents, grandparents, and caregivers how to keep children safe in their car. And she happens to be a college professor and a very talented author.
She's hot.
She's a hottie, yes.
Fellas.
Yeah, she's a hottie. I know. I'm easily impressed by hotties. Yes. Dr. Ginny Frings. Good morning, doctor.
Good morning. Thank you, Robin, for that comment.
Yeah, I'm really glad that Robin made the inappropriate comment first because
I have to be honest.
Robin is a woman, so she gets away with it quicker than me. Otherwise, it's creepy. If I agree with it, it's not as creepy as if I say it.
Well, Larry, thanks for affirming what she said.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, of course, I'm a man. I can. If it comes from me, you got to believe it. A man doesn't get that stuff wrong. Where are you, doctor? Where are you calling from?
I am calling from St. Louis, Missouri.
St. Louis. Thank you.
There you go.
Everybody told me it's pronounced St. Louis. No. Thank you. See,
well, we're also said to be in the Lou. That's the nickname around here.
In the Lou. Okay.
Lou.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to say that, but I got corrected so many times for New Orleans. Everybody told me it's New Orleans. New Orleans. St. Louis has an S on it.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
St. Louis.
Yes, it does.
And your city is in the news a lot lately, by the way. Just I don't know what's going on over.
Yeah, it's been in the news for a number of different reasons. Most recently, the Cardinals, of course.
Thank you for making it safe. Yes, a safe one to focus on. First, Robin showed me a photograph, and it doesn't even of something that doesn't even look like a car, but she told me it was a car that you were in that got wrecked.
Exactly.
This looks like it's in a junkyard somewhere.
With your two children.
Your two children were with you. Tell me about that, first of all, and then we'll talk about the book.
Okay. I'd love to share the story. Back on June 15th of the year 2000, my baby twins and I were traveling back to Virginia after we visited grandparents in the Southeast. And right outside of Knoxville, Tennessee, this other driver was driving the wrong direction on the interstate.
Oh.
And she was being pursued by police, and I've heard stories. She's recovering and all that since then, but she really didn't know what she was doing that night, apparently, from what the police told me later. But I could not get out of her way, and she was on a mission to hit another car that night, from what I heard. And so I could not get out of her way. The twins are fine. They're sophomores in high school now. Their car seats were in right. I work with Concerned Angels and all that, but I was not expected to live or ever walk again. And as you can tell, I'm fully alive this morning, and I'm standing.
Plus, you're a hottie.
12 surgeries, 6 years. Thank you again, Larry. And 12 surgeries, 6 years of my life recovering from that accident. But through it all, I learned a lot about what's important in life, and not to take certain things for granted, that's for sure. Like walking again, that was interesting journey with physical therapy because I could see my legs, but I did not know how to use them. I had to really literally learn to walk again.
Wow.
Yeah, and then my babies were starting to pull up on furniture and, starting to toddle around. So I told my PT, I said, Sonia, we've got to get me up and walking again. These guys are going to run around in two different directions. And so we all learned to walk the very same month that year. I came in third, but, at least I learned.
Isn't that amazing? Wow.
Yeah, it was quite a recovery. I'm made of titanium, cobalt, and steel.
Oh.
Literally.
I set off metal detectors. Yeah. And in the Smithsonian, all airports, all government buildings, I set the metal detectors off. But, it's at least I'm up. At least I'm up.
Wow. At least you're alive. The two twins are alive, and wow. That's so. And so how did you? They survived because of the child safety seats. Is that right?
That the grace of God and
the grace of God. Yeah. Yeah, let's not leave out the grace of God. That probably should have been said first.
And the properly installed car seats. Absolutely. And 95% of the time still in this nation, car seats are not installed properly. And so my husband had installed the twins' car seats before our trip. And even the newspaper article in Knoxville mentioned multiple times when they were writing about the accident that the Frings twins' car seats were installed properly because that's unusual.
Wow, I wonder if I would even know how to put them in properly. I don't even know if I would know how to do that. When you were first, I guess, in the hospital, were you in a coma?
I was unconscious on a respirator for 7 days, and they were telling my husband at the time that I would not wake up. But by some outside miracle, she does regain consciousness. She'll be a vegetable and won't be able to do anything.
Do you remember any of that at all?
No, that 7 days, I have no recollection.
So you didn't have one of those near-death experiences some people have?
No, I didn't see the white light. The last thing I remember was being in the car. I stopped for gas, coffee. Twins were asleep in their car seats. They called my husband to tell him when we'd be back in Virginia, and the next thing I know, I was waking up in trauma ICU at Knoxville Medical Center.
Wow.
You wake up in a hospital room, and suddenly I just knew the twins were gone. Suddenly that's all I could think of. And the nurse came over and said, no, they're fine. But, that was like a nightmare. That moment right there was. But they're fine. Yeah. So
wow, good for you.
Interesting.
Good for you. Wow, you're so jovial right now, and I'm feeling such joy coming from you, knowing that this happened. This is now 14 years ago.
Yes.
So.
And that's why you're called the transformational speaker, because you could have not
literally transformed
been this way, but you did. I mean, you persevered, and your story is such an inspiration to others to fix whatever is wrong with them, take whatever it is steps necessary to become whole and normal again.
Well, Robin, exactly. One thing that I will never forget is we were there. It was, a few months, I guess, after the accident. I was still in a wheelchair, and my father-in-law came over to me and said, Jenny, you need to become a motivational speaker. And I'm like, I can't do anything for anybody right now. And he said, no, you concentrate on healing, and then we'll work on setting up a speaking business. And he said, you've been through a mess, and now you're about to have a message to share of hope, of encouragement, and you're going through a test, and by golly, you're going to have a testimony, and you need to get out there and share it. And so he was the one that really encouraged me to start speaking. Some of the first motivational talk I ever gave after the accident was to the founders of the hospital where I had learned to walk again 11 months after the accident. It was May 17th, 2001. I'll never forget that. But It was the encouragement of somebody else.
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying no to my father-in-law, but it was like he was genuinely just deeply passionate about getting my story out there.
Wow, that is fascinating.
That's where it started.
Dr. Ginny Frings is on the phone. We have a book to talk about also, Blue-Eyed Ruse. I'm looking forward to sharing that with our audience so we can learn what's in between the covers of the book. I have a real quick thing I want to tell you. There was a story the other day about a highway patrolman who pulled over a woman for speeding or something, and he noticed that the child was not in a safety seat at all. Not only was it not put in correctly, it wasn't in, didn't have one.
Yeah.
And instead of giving her a ticket, and I'm not saying all police should do this, but it was just such a touching story. He said, meet me at Walmart.
Yep.
And did you hear this story?
Yes, I saw that.
Oh, you did? Okay, and so she goes, as you know, he goes and buys her the car seat. I don't know if he put it in there or not, do you?
Yes, he taught her how to put it in correctly.
Wow.
And it's not just having a car seat in the car; it's the fact that it's installed properly. That's the key.
Wow. We need to take a little break, Doctor, and I know you're doing the radio tour so that we can learn about your book. I want to learn about your writing. I want to learn when this started for you. Were you a writer before, or did it happen after the accident? We'll learn everything we need to know when we come back. We'll do that in just a bit. This is The Source, WOCA. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. It'll be pleasant today with plenty of sunshine at a high of 85 to 89. Tonight, mainly clear, the lows ranging from the upper 60s in a few inland spots to about 73 along the coast. Tomorrow, another nice warm day with sunshine, the high 86 to 90. And for Saturday, partly sunny, high 85 to 89. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Stay informed on everything going on in the Villages with the Village Spectator newspaper. The Village Spectator is exclusively devoted to the Villages with news, commentary, and more. And yes, they have Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. Tom's Picks will refer the company that fits your needs, and all we ask is that you tell them where you heard about them. Call Tom's Picks at 804-1223 and pick up your copy of the Village Spectator today.
Now read Ocala Downtown newspaper online.
Good credits, bad credits. It's none of our business because we're not an auto dealer. We're not a bank. We're not your mother. We're OcalaForSale.com. Marion County's marketplace for cars, trucks, and SUVs. We've got thousands of sellers standing by to take your call. No middleman. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge. Undercutting, rust-proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
All right. Thank you for tuning in and for staying with us through the break. Dr. Ginny Frings is on the phone. And, gosh, where did you tell me you are again? Doctor, where are you?
St. Louis, Missouri.
St. Louis, of course. She taught me how to pronounce St. Louis correctly. Okay. All right. I was looking through the notes during the break, and you have another book. Is this right? Navigate with God?
Absolutely, yes. The first book I wrote is Navigate with God, Journey Through Perseverance, and it's really a book to teach people how to go through, basically there's 12 chapters, like you say, a 12-step program to learn how to more effectively deal with challenges in their life and to persevere. And my slogan, it's not what happens to you, but what you do with what happens to you. And so we can take every experience and do something with it, maybe to help ourselves, maybe to help somebody else. And so that's kind of the basis for Navigate with God.
Do you know, it is one of my tools. My reminding myself of the existence of God is one of my tools. I am not a Bible expert in any way, but I truly believe in God. Absolutely, 100% believe in God and trust in God. Maybe is a better word. And it's one of my tools. When anything ever happens, anything, the way I get through it is to say, you know what? There's a God. Somehow, some way, there's a God, and we're gonna see day of light somehow at the end of this. And obviously, you went through something that took even more faith than anything I've ever gone through, and I hope I never have to go through that. It would be horrible, I think, to go through what you went through. So tell me about your writing, and then we'll talk about Blue-Eyed Ruse. Have you always been a writer?
Actually, not. The idea for Navigate with God came about. It's about a little over 5 years after the accident, and I was about to have 2 more knee surgeries during that whole recovery. And we decided that we'd go over to the Dulles Flight Museum. We're living at Richmond at the time, and had the whole family, everybody in the car ready to go. But my surgeon had been saying, "Doesn't your right knee lock up on you?" And I said, "No." Well, guess what? We were headed out of the garage. I was the last one, locking the door, went down the garage stairs. My knee locked up.
Oh.
Totally hyperflexed, and I'm such a personality type of a people pleaser. I'm like, oh, let's go to the museum. Let's walk around. So took the babies and everybody. We all did that. Got back, and my knee was not, let's just say it wasn't acting quite right. I still remember this. It was New Year's Eve that year, and I come to find out after an MRI that week, I had torn the meniscus, the PCL, and the ACL all at once. And so
I'll pretend I know what those are.
My surgeon actually said, well, how about we get the football specialist, McLaughlin, over at VCU to do that, because it was like a football injury. Literally it was. And so took care of that. But in the midst of all that, I was trying to, I'm not a person to say why me, but I was kind of like, okay, so what are we going to do with this situation? And I am not kidding. At that point, the idea for Navigate with God planted itself. It's like there's a perseverance acronym that are the chapters, starting with prayer, ending with everlasting life. But it really is like a 12-step process to learn how to deal with challenges, because that one was certainly thrown my way unexpectedly. I mean, I just didn't expect any of that kind of thing to happen. And so, how do we work through each day? So that began the writing. And there were times, I will admit, Larry, Robin, there were nights, I'm a night person, and I'd be writing, and I just think, I'm not an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a teacher, but I found this quote one night, and it's author unknown, I don't know the source of it, but it said, God does not call the qualified, he qualifies the called. And
wow, I love that.
2 years, 3 months, and 2 years, 3 months, and 17 days later, Navigate with God came out. And since then, other book ideas, and there's a piece that never fit Navigate with God. There's 86 single-spaced pages that are in my next book on strength, which will be out this winter, called You Are Titanium. And literally, I am titanium, but that's the book, and it's about strength. There was a thread of ideas all through those pages that didn't fit. So one book beget the next book, but in the meantime, this idea for the Blue-Eyed Ruse came about with a spiritual gifts message.
So let's talk about that book. we took a look. So this is why we had you on for a half hour. And I'm telling you, Doctor, we normally have not journalists, what do you want to say, novelists, just to talk about their book just enough so we can get the idea out there, and then we move on to something else. But I knew you had much more to tell, and you even have more than I realized you had. So that, I love the philosophy. I love the message that you're giving to us and to our listeners, and so thank you for that. So let's talk about the book. Was this a fun project for you, writing Blue-Eyed Ruse?
It was fun because I love a good mystery. I mean, reading a mystery or movies, TV mysteries, and usually I can figure them out. For the most part, there'll be a clue somewhere that's not overly noticeable, a little covert, but it's slightly obvious. So what was interesting in this one is how many side paths, how many dead ends could I throw into the storyline? How many clues that really don't mean anything could I throw in there versus some meaningful ones along the way? And so it's been interesting to hear some of my editors and some other readers talk about the paths that they went down, while reading. And some of them I would say, oh, yeah, you fell into that one. And then some of them would be side paths and suppositions about who did it that I hadn't even thought of. And it's been interesting to hear some of the comments. Yeah, it's like,
so you have obviously. By the way, I need to apologize. It sounds like we're talking over each other, and it's not intentional. I think there's a delay in hearing each other, so I just want you to know that we're not trying to be rude to you. But since I'm talking now, you are a philosophical person, as you've demonstrated already in the earlier part of the interview. Did that philosophy make its way into the story of the Blue Ruse? I mean, sorry, Blue-Eyed Ruse, the Blue Ruse.
Blue-Eyed Ruse, yes. It does, and it's a Christian fiction book. There is, of course, there's a serial killer in the book. I mean, there's somebody out there just knocking off people, across this nation. But in the midst of all that, the characters who don't know God in the beginning start feeling like there's kind of a void in their life. There's something missing in their relationships, and they're kind of in seeking mode, if you will. But then these murders start happening, and so they're not really sure how to go about solving this. And a very unlikely character in the book, somebody you would not expect at all, to lead a team to learn more about their spiritual side and the giftings that God has graced them with, puts together a team. There's a politician, a voice teacher, an estate manager, and a charter boat captain who end up being this crime-solving team in Blue-Eyed Ruse.
You have an extremely unique format to your book too. It's like it's like reading a play because you always set up at the beginning of each chapter what the scene is supposed to be.
Yes, and I've been told by a couple of people in the movie industry that it reads like a screenplay. And the reason for that, Robin, though, really is I don't ever want the reader to wonder where they are. I always want them to know exactly when and where they are, because this locations. So I always want them to be clear on that.
Yeah, it's wonderful, wonderfully done.
Dropped out a little bit
love
right there.
that.
I think I connected it up.
Locations.
Doctor, are both books available right now, or are they available at the same place?
Oh, yes, they are. Yes, online, Amazon, local bookstores. Yeah, we'll be carrying Navigate with God and Blue-Eyed Ruse. And also, the ebook version is available of either book. So if you have a Kindle or Nook or something and you don't want a hard copy, but you can also order the hard copy.
And what is the? It says there's a program available in formats ranging from 1.0 hours to 3.5 hours for breakout sessions. What is that? Navigate the Winds of Change. What is that?
That is one of my speaking programs, Larry. And so if you go to my website, which is GinnyFrings.com, GINNYFRINGS.com, it's Beyond the Brink Motivational Programs, and that's my speaking business that began back when my father-in-law was helping me start all this. And that's where I list my different programs that I do for organizations, corporations, universities, and I've even spoke at schools, different places who want to learn how to navigate the winds of change. And there's a Chinese proverb that says, when the winds of change blow, some people build a wall, but some people build a windmill. So
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I apologize for the delay. It sounds like I spoke over you again right there. Dr. Ginny Frings, thank you so much for being on the air. The books are called Blue-Eyed Ruse and Navigate with God. I have a copy of of Blue-Eyed Ruse. I'd like to give it away. If you call me right now, I will leave it here for you to pick up. The rest of us have to go buy it. Ginny, tell us again what your website is.
It's Ginny Frings, GINNYFRINGS.com.
Okay, Ginny Frings. And of course, you can get it on Amazon and everywhere else that books are available. And as well as the, what do you call it, the ebook. Mm-hmm. Is there an audiobook?
Yes. No, it's an ebook and hard copy.
Ebook and hard copy, plus the speaking engagement program, which I guess you could share with your church or whatever. It's all Christian-based, right, everything?
Yes. Through the grace of God is why I'm here. So absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I am so glad you shared your story with us today. You are certainly a transformational speaker, and I think you've transformed us a little bit in the course of this interview. So thank you for taking time out of your day. And next time you're in Ocala, if you're ever here, I'll teach you it's pronounced Ocala.
That's right.
Thank you.
Just like you taught me St. Louis. Well, a lot of people come here and they call it Ocala or Ocala. Yeah, they mess up. So we have to correct everybody.
But it is such a wonderful book, very inspirational, and the characters are very enjoyable.
And let me take
thank you, Rob.
call. Good morning. Did you want the book?
Yes, sir. This is Jim.
Jim, you got it. It'll be waiting for you.
Oh, I can't wait to get my hands on this book.
Okay. It'll be
She's such a wonderful person.
She sure is, and she's a hottie too. Yeah. But she's married, so we have to watch ourselves. Her husband has a big gun. It'll be waiting for you, Jim.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Doctor, thank you for putting up with me, by the way. See, Robin can get away with it. Robin started it. I don't know that I would have said.
Be honest.
I don't know that I would have said.
No, I have to be honest.
No, I would have said.
Doctor's a wonderful person.
Ginny, thank you so much for being on the air with us today. That was fun, and hopefully you had a good time with us as well.
Yes, I did. Thank you both.
All right, we need to take a little break, and we will be right back.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Because if you can, then so can your customers. Radio works. Call today to advertise your business right here on WOCA 1370, The Source.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. Protest in Missouri after an off-duty police officer patrolling a neighborhood shoots and kills a black 18-year-old who police say fired at him first. St. Louis Police Chief Sam Dotson says a suspect
runs up a hill, turns towards the officer, fires at least 3 shots towards the officer, at which point the officer defends himself and returns fire.
An investigation is underway. A suspected Ebola patient, a Dallas sheriff's deputy, does not have a fever this morning.
One of the very first symptoms of Ebola in the very early stages, which is why they're talking about doing these temperature screenings at airports where people are coming in from West Africa.
Fox's Casey Siegel outside the hospital. And a bee swarm in Arizona has left one landscaper dead, another critically hurt. The attack by thousands of bees happened yesterday morning while the men were working at a home. A hive was found in the attic, now exterminated, part of the roof torn off. Fox News, we report, you decide.
You've packed your family of 8 in a 5-person car, packed a week's worth of groceries into one bag, and when your wife says the dishwasher's full, you just laugh. But are you up for the challenge when there's 20% off on the line? Pick up our exclusive 5-gallon Napa Camo Bucket for just $2.99. Then get 20% off all the stuff you can fit in it. Conquer the job with Napa Know-How. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Some exclusions apply. Offer expires 11/16/14.
Let's get down to business. You don't travel too often for work, but when you do, you want to stay where you know you'll be taken care of. That's where Choice Hotels comes in. We have everything you need to keep you on top of your game, like free hot breakfast for that much-needed morning boost, free internet to keep you in touch with home base, and a generous loyalty program so you can earn great rewards. Stay for business at Choice Hotels and book now at choicehotels.com. Great endings begin here. Amenities vary by location.
Hey folks, the key word this week at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens is truckload. The trucks are arriving with absolutely super savings on just what you want for fall. We almost sold out of those wonderful dwarf, red ruffle, ever-blooming azaleas, but now a great stock has arrived. Get 6 of these fantastic beauties for just $24.99. How about this super deal on boxwood? Not $6.99, not $5.99, not $4.99, just $2.99 for boxwoods. All citrus trees are priced to go at 20% off. And of course, the truckload sale on shade trees. It gets better every week. Get an extra large shade tree, choose from dozens of varieties up to 6 feet tall, just $49.99. Bob's open daily till 4, Saturdays till 2. Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens, Southeast 38th Street, Ocala, growing greener with Ocala since 1952.
What you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Talking about ourselves stimulates the brain the same way love, food, and cash do. Everybody's favorite subject is themselves. So, on a date, ask her about herself. Adults studying a new language learn words and phrases faster when they sing them. Normal, happy cows produce about 9 gallons of milk a day. But super relaxed and happy cows produce more than 10 gallons.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Your weekends are getting a little retooled.
Swear to God, not making a joke.
Check this out. New shows? Check. We are Force. Some new talent? Check. Let's welcome the guys.
Let's get it going.
Arnie Spanier.
Unbelievable.
TJ Reeves.
This is what you get.
Your weekends are on fire.
Because that's how exotic it is.
We are Force.
Get it for less at the DIY Home Center outlet. Get top quality real wood cabinets the same or less than the big box stores are selling the cheap stuff. And that's not all. Drywall screws big box stores are $6.47 a pound. At DIY only $4.99. Plus DIY has the largest selection of mobile home parts and accessories anywhere. From carpet to doors, get the DIY supplies you need for less. The DIY Home Center outlet. We are your building material closeout store. 2191 Northwest 10th Street, just 2 miles east of I-75.
Yo, Goomba, they're doing this comedy about me at the Ocala Civic Theater called Breaking Legs. Yeah, I know, great title. My daughter brings this playwright to a restaurant, want me and the boys to invest in his new